Greetings, fantasy NBA fans. I'm going to try to breeze through this. I am delayed in my Week 8 update, so I'm going to try to get that out, and I do still plan on doing a Week 9 update. Might have a little viola accompaniment in the background. We've got company who are practicing. There's also a screaming bird in the room next door, so that might actually end up being a thing. And I've had to relocate. Notice the bright window in the background. But it just, at the moment, seems like the best I can do. So we are just going to make it work. Week 8 NBA Fantasy Update. We, first of all, went 12-2 on the week. Again, we are not in 14 leagues. Some leagues go against the average. Which, by the way, there's at least one league, I think, that started that way and now has decided not to do that, which has been to my disadvantage because I was beating the average every week and losing to some opponents. So now I think I've lost all those wins against the average. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Let's just try to go in some kind of order here. First of all, this is the 2.0 Thunder team. Again, I thought this one was going to take the place of the regular Thunder Team league because I thought they were going to do away with that one, and I thought that's why they started this one. But so far, both are still going, so I'm just going to keep on running it. We won last week. There is no league average, so we are 5-1. We are projected to beat the 4-2 Pistons this week. It does not appear, since I'm so late on this video, I can give you an update. It does not appear at the moment that we are going to do so. This team might be falling to 5-2. As of week 8, we were in 6th place. 8 teams make the playoffs. 5th in points for and 12th in points against. And pretty much right there in that playoff mix, I think. We have not made a whole lot of moves with this Thunder roster, and it's worked to our advantage most of the time because we have a lot of depth. Now, this league only starts, I think, 7 players. The other Thunder team that I have starts 10, and that works a lot more to our advantage. So we were 2nd in points this week. We were at 99% efficiency, which is pretty good. We had 6 top and 1 worst pick. The worst pick was A.J. Mitchell by only 1.15 points. So that's where the 99% comes from, man. That was a really good week. So let's press on then. Here's the other Thunder roster. Now, we have made a move or two on this one just because, again, we don't have to oh, no, I take that back. We made a move or two on the 2.0 league because we don't need the depth because they only start like 7. This Thunder roster I have not touched really much because we have to start 10 and the Thunder are deep. And so I'm always just like, why mess with a good thing? So that is the way I've been going with this one. So after week 8, this team is 11-1, does play against the average each week and did not get started on week 1. So that's why they seem a little bit behind pace as far as the number of games played. It's a 32-team dynasty. We were 2-0 last week. We were projected actually to lose to the Rockets this week, who are 5-7. So I'm still not sure how that's a thing. They must just have kind of a roster of superstars kind of set, and I don't know if they've made moves or what. I can tell you at last look, we are still projected to lose. We have been projected to lose all week. Again, things might be happening for this team, but I again think we'll beat the average. So if we go 1-1, I'm fine with that. But I don't know how we lose to a 5-7 team and be projected to lose all week when we're literally 11-1. So he must have played a much tougher schedule than we have. Week 8, we were 3rd in points for the week. I have a friend in this league, by the way, who was 1st in points in the league in week 8. We were 86% efficient, which is a little low for this team. But again, with some injuries and stuff, it gets a little tricky to try and figure it out. We had 6 top picks and 2 worst. The 2 worst were the small forward, Jay Williams, by 2 points, which again is not that big a deal. But again, A.J. Mitchell by 3. and I think that got us on the other one too. That was the two worst. And actually, there was a guy named, we picked up a guy that scored us -1 this week, which was a little upsetting. I can tell you this week, I don't think he even made the lineup, so he may end up getting cut. But anyway, so the Thunder teams, I think, are both going to be okay. Maybe just hit a little rough spot, and I'll update you whenever we get to the Week 9 update. But for Week 8, we were looking pretty darn good. Let's jump to this Pistons team. And in fact, I've already kind of updated some, if you're looking at the spreadsheet here, I've already updated some of the records with what I anticipate to be the finish for Week 9. So just know that after Week 8, the Pistons team here was 6-2. We won against the Suns. It's a 32-team dynasty. We were projected to win this week also, and it does look like we're probably going to do that. Thus the 7-2 in yellow there. We were in 6th place, and 6 teams make the playoffs after Week 8. So I don't anticipate after Week 9 that that's going to change too much. We were 4th in points for the week. We were 4th in points overall after Week 8, and we were 16th in points against after Week 8. We were 15th in points that week, Week 8, at 96% efficiency. We had 7 top picks and 1 worst. We had Sion James, of all people, that we lost out on 5 points. And that one's a little tough because he might score 0 and he might score 10 and he might score 5. And that's pretty much where he's at. So this is another one of those teams, too, that has to have a little bit of a deeper starting roster. And James is a rookie. I've been trying to work him in when I can. And he usually does better than some of those deeper Detroit Pistons. So he might be the one I'm always hit and miss on a little bit. I did trade in this team Isaiah Stewart and Jay Watkins for a guy named Washington. I think it's P.J. Washington for Dallas and Jackson Davis for Golden State. Who, by the way, I did use both of those in my starting lineup in Week 8. So I think what happened was I traded a couple of depth pieces, a little youth and a little depth for a couple of people that I'd still use in my starting lineup. Stewart was pretty useful, but I also have him in some other spots, and so it's one of those things, again, where I feel like I can kind of diversify some personnel among leagues that way. I think I also picked up some draft capital, which I kind of liked. I got to pick up a first and give up a second, so I'm down for that. This was the NBA Cup week, by the way, which I had mentioned on the other side of this, and the Thunder ended up losing, I think, in the semifinals, and I think the Pistons lost in the semifinals, which didn't give me as many games to choose from as I would usually have. So anyway, but the Pistons appear to be in pretty good shape, and I think even after Week 9, things are probably going to look pretty good. If only 6 teams make it, and we're in 6th place, I can see us falling into that playoff bracket somewhere, and then I will give my teams a chance. Just get us in and give us a chance, and I think we got as good a chance as anybody, really. So there is your Pistons team. Here is Sleeperholics Anonymous, and this is one we need to spend a little bit of time on. We've got some things to discuss as it relates to the Sleeperholics. Let's just kind of get through the nuts and bolts here. First, it's a 32-team dynasty. After Week 8, the Sleeperholics was 10-6. I think that has now changed because I saw that the average has now been turned off. And I think once that happens, you lose all the wins that you had against the average. Okay. Man, I got into a little bit of a daze there with this. There's a howling dog outside now and all kinds of drama. But I was able to get into Sleeper. And so for Tatum, I picked up this first round pick, which very well could end up being the last pick of the first round, which is pick 32. So that one may not be so good. Josh the Lad here, that one's about a mid. I think it was about 18 last I checked out of 32. I'm really hoping that guy's season goes in the tank and this maybe even turns into a lottery pick. It is possible. Unlikely, but it is possible. And then I had him throw in this second round pick, which was the Lando one, and this second round pick, which was the J. Trey Mendes, just because I think the 2026 draft is going to be pretty deep. And if I have these 4 second round picks, I can probably package those, maybe even with some first round picks to just scooch up a little and see if I can grab some good players. And then I basically got 2 firsts and 2 seconds in the 2026 draft. And then I also picked up 2 2027 first round picks. This is SD Nighthawk, which is a late pick. And this is V, which is also a late pick. But if I've got a year to wait this stuff out, there's always the chance those teams go south or something. And I end up, that pays off. So, and then I do still have my 2028 picks here. So, gave up Tatum, but I do have a lot of draft capital back. And when I look at this roster, and this is just straight from Sleeper here, Fox is pretty much my set point guard. He's an 8-year guy. He's going to be around a while. I think the Spurs are up and coming. That's why I made that deal. So, he's 83% started and 99% owned. So Fox is bona fide. But I'm deep. I mean, I've got Garland and I've got Mitchell at guard. So I really think in the long run, getting Fox and trading Tatum is probably going to work out for me. I would also just throw out real quick, I did pick up Duncan Robinson. I may have mentioned it in a previous video, but he's been my small forward. We've been kind of weak there. And now that I don't have Tatum coming back, I really hope he does well. That's for sure. Tobias Harris is a little bit of a problem because he's old at power forward. I did pick up Powell off the waiver wire. Also did pick up Mikhailiuk. Not sure how to say his name, but these guys can fill in sometimes, that's for sure. And then Poeltl with his injuries and stuff, and Porzingis with their injuries and stuff. If I can unload them at some point, I probably will. So anyway, just know that lots of moves were made with the Sleeperholics team. But even with a projected a little bit of an upset, perhaps win this week, week 9, we are now going to be 4-5 because they've taken off the average wins, and I don't really love it. But this Harris right here, starting 7 weeks, is a little troublesome. I'm gonna try to work on a power forward at some point, but I'm very good at working the waiver wire and making that stuff work to my advantage. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm also, I think, very good at drafting. Let's jump to Sporty McSportball. I feel like we had a little quiet time there in the middle of this because I thought I was paused and I wasn't. So we'll try to press on. Here is Sporty McSportball, who I think after week 9 will probably be 4-5. After week 8, where we won, we were 3-5. This is a 32-team dynasty. We are 17th in points for and 17th in points against, which means things could have been worse for this team, but we need to turn it around a little bit here. I don't anticipate playoffs or anything, but I would prefer to get out of the top 10 and stay out of the top 10 because I don't want, if anyone has my picks, I don't want them getting, a good lottery pick out of it. So we were in 21st place after week 8. 8 teams do make the playoffs in this. So, if I could finish somewhere in that 16 range, I'll be okay with that. I'd rather finish a little better if I can. This week we were about 50-50 against the 2-6 team, who was ranked 26th. And I don't really get that. It does appear now that we are going to beat them. At least I sure hope so. Fourth in week 8 in scoring, which is a really good sign at 99.9% efficiency, 6 top picks and 0 worst picks. So Sporting McSportball is doing pretty good here. Again, these are teams that I just took over. I didn't get to draft them, but I did grab this team in particular because of its youth and because of its draft capital. It has a lot of draft picks. So I'm really hoping all those draft picks somehow turn into lottery picks. That would be awesome, but or at least 1 or 2 of them. Let's jump to the Celtics. We got the full Celtics roster here on this one, 32-team dynasty. Week 8 we won, and so we went to 6-2, and it does look like week 9 we're probably going to go 7-2. We are projected to win this week against the Cavaliers, and I think it's going to work out that way. After week 8, we were in 7th place. We were 7th in points for and 25th in points against. So this team has caught some breaks, that's for sure. Only 6 teams make the playoffs. We did have the lowest points in a win in week 8 at 103.5, and that is pretty low for this team, but we still won. And we were 23rd in scoring this week at 91%. So that's a little troubling. But I think the NBA Cup week again had something to do with that. If your team lost in the quarterfinals or the semifinals, you did not get many choices. You were kind of stuck with what you got, is the way that went. And that's what happened with the Celtics. We did have 7 top picks and 0 worst. So we got what we got and we pulled it out. We beat the 28th team in scoring, which was the Spurs that week, which is interesting because the Spurs went all the way to the finals in the NBA Cup. So and lost to the Knicks. So we may have that team has gotten a little lucky, that Celtics team. So, we'll take the luck, that's for sure. Let's jump to the first one that's not a 32-team dynasty. This is a 16-team redraft. I think, 8 teams make the playoffs. So half the league makes the playoffs in this league. And this is one, man, I drafted again so well. I really, really drafted well on this one. So after week 8, we were 6-2. It does look like after week 9, we may go to 7-2. If I remember right, we're having a really good week this week. Last week, we won against the 7th ranked team. They were 5-2, and we beat them. So this team is playoff bound. I don't see any way this team finishes out of the top half of the league. And we were 50-50 this week against an 8-0 team that is in first place. And it does look like we are going to beat them this week. So we were second in the standings. We were first in points for, which is also, again, an encouraging sign. And we were 15th in points against, which means, again, we've caught some breaks. But when you're first in points, you don't need a whole lot of breaks. So, you just keep on keeping on. This team also has won 5 straight games to get to 6-2. So we were 1-2, which I'm a little surprised at. But now we've won 5 straight, and it looks like we may go 6 straight here in a bit. We were first in scoring that week, as well as leading the league in overall scoring for the season. We were 98% efficient. We had 7 top picks and 1 worst. We actually picked Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on 7.5 points less than we could have. And that was that NBA Cup thing, which was a little bit weird. So, but hey, again, we are going to take it. And I don't think there's any moves that need to be made in that one. That one, with it being redraft, takes a lot less thought. But I'm enjoying it because we're winning. So there's that. Oklahoma Outlaws, this is the one weirdest league where you can't lock in the points after the game. You actually pick who you want, when you want, before they play. And if they score 1 point, you're stuck with it. It's the longest running dynasty league that I have been in. And it's the deepest starting lineup. You start 12 players, which is a little crazy. There's Russell Westbrook, our lone Ring of Honor member right now. He has now 44 starts for this team over the course of my ownership of it. As of week 8, the Oklahoma Outlaws were 9-7, and that was a huge step for us. For us to be above 500 that far into the season was the first time ever. We won last week against the sixth place team, theoretically a playoff team. Only 6 teams make the playoffs. And we did also beat the average. We were projected week 9 to win against a 4-12 team. I will tell you, throughout the week, they had the lead on us until pretty much today, and then we've kind of stomped them. So we were in 7th place, 1 spot out of a playoff spot, 8th in points for and 10th in points against. So I don't know that this team has arrived yet, but it does seem to be gaining a little traction, that's for sure. By the way, Westbrook was the top point guard this week in the league, and here he is. I just can't keep him out of my lineup. Even if someone offered me a deal now, it would probably have to be a pretty good one. It better involve a first-round pick because I'm probably not just going to give him up. We did have the lowest points in a win this week, which means we got a little lucky. We were 7th in scoring this week, and we beat the number 8 team in scoring this week. We were 93% efficient, which in a not locked-in league is really good. We had 9 top picks and 3 worst picks. The 3 worst were Suggs by 2.5, George by 5.5, and we started this rookie Renaud, and we picked the wrong game by 9 points, which is a little disconcerting, except when you think about he's a rookie and he's hard to predict, and I love that I'm getting to put him in my lineup because he was projected to do well, and I can tell you now, week 9, he delivered. We'll talk about that next week, but 9-7, it looks like this team may go to 11-7. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get us in that 6th playoff spot, though. And again, I don't necessarily have to. The consolation bracket winner in this league gets a end of first round consolation pick, so pick 13 basically in the draft. I have no problem not making the playoffs and getting that pick because, again, I think the 2026 draft is going to be really, really good. But we're real excited about what the Oklahoma Outlaws are doing. That team, if I remember right, has a really rough end of season schedule. Like we play the top 3 teams the last 3 weeks. So we need to get a little pace out ahead because it might back up on us. But if we can just keep beating the average, I don't really care about the head-to-head so much in the regular season. Here is a 18-team dynasty league that, again, I feel as though I drafted extremely well. So we were 7-0-1 after week 8. It looks like we may end up losing in week 9. We were projected to win this week, by the way, but it looks like they are probably going to get us. We're playing the 3rd place team, so we were in first place. We were the only undefeated team left, and now it looks like there will be no undefeated teams left, which is fine. We can lose a week and still be fine. So after week 8, we were first place in the standings. We were first in points for, but we were 14th in points against. So I've been expecting someone to come along and have a good week against us, and I think that's what's going to happen in week 9. 8 teams make the playoffs. I can't imagine this team not making the playoffs. I think we're going to be in it. We were 7th in scoring on week 8, and we had a 100% efficiency. We had 7 top picks and 0 worst picks, which is as good as you can get in that league. So we'll just keep on keeping on in that one. Last one we need to talk about, and this one we just pulled off a huge deal in week 9, so it didn't really affect week 8. Let's talk about week 8 first. This team after week 8 was 3-5. We do think we're going to go to 4-5. We're going to pull off a little bit of an upset this week. It's a 24-team dynasty. We lost last week, week 8, to a 7-1 team, the 3rd place team. And we are projected to lose this week to a 3-8 team, but it does appear as though, a 3-5 team, excuse me. It does appear as though we are going to pull that upset. There is a couple of players left, so we'll fill you in next week on if that occurred. I am playing in week 9 a guy that I always trade with, which is kind of cool because if I have his picks and I beat him, that makes his picks even better. So I was looking to do that this week. He is in 15th place. I, after week 8, was in 17th place, so it would be a slight upset. 17th in points for, and 8th in points against. So this team has struggled a little bit with the schedule winch, that's for sure. 8 teams make the playoffs, and I don't know that we're going to be in that top 8. I would very much, again, like to avoid the bottom 10. So if I could finish, somewhere in that 13, 12, 11 range, I'm probably feeling pretty good about that. By the way, we lost to a team that finished 3rd in scoring that week. So, is one of those things there's not much we could have done about week 8, I don't think. So the opponent for week 9 finished 3rd in scoring in week 8. Excuse me. So I was hoping for a little bit of a down week, and he did kind of have a little down week. In week 8, we lost to the highest scoring team, which means, again, there wasn't much we could do. We were the most efficient manager, which, again, kind of indicates we did all we could. And we finished 14th in scoring, which means our team is pretty weak. If we're doing that well efficiency-wise and we're finishing that far behind. But, again, if I finish 14th, I would hope to finish maybe a little better, but 14th, I would be pretty happy with that, with this team, because, again, I took it over. It sucked. We did have a 100% efficiency. We had 5 top picks and 0 worst picks. I will tell you, we worked a big deal. We traded away Draymond Green, Schroeder, AJ Green, and Caruso. We traded away all 4, plus a couple of second-round picks, which I consider to be kind of throw-ins. They were not 2026 second-round picks, by the way. They were which is more of a throw-in. And the main person we picked up here was Derek Lively. He is on IR all year. So I have a center coming in next year, a young, good center, who may very well be the starter for Dallas next year. I think he will be. So that works for me. We ended up picking up B. Williams. He's also a Dallas player. And then we ended up back with Patrick Williams, who I had traded away during the draft, and now I have him back again. He very well may end up getting cut. He's probably my first cut candidate. But for what it is worth, we had traded away Riseacre, by the way, to pick up Aldama. That guy has now said he wants to trade Riseacre, so I may actually try and trade to get him back. That is a player I regretted trading a little bit. So he says he's got lots of offers. I don't know if I believe that, but for the right price, I will trade to get Riseacre back. So, again, if we can finish at 500 right now, I think we're going to be around 4 and 5. Maybe we get on a little hot streak here and, put ourselves in that top 12. Even if we're not in the playoffs, we're still kind of out of that lottery range, because I don't have my first round pick. The guy who got mine was certain he was going to get in the lottery with my pick, and I want to avoid that. So that covers week 8 of the fantasy NBA leagues. I will be back with you for a week 9 recap, hopefully middle of this week. It is Christmas week, and again, we've got company and birds and dogs and all kinds of things going. So I'll try and work it out as well as I can. You guys stay safe out there. Merry Christmas.